Ba, ba, ba. Oh, is yours real? Mine's not real.
Oh, as real as I could get. The budget on this show is tight.
Don't worry, everyone. It's just me. Hello, and welcome into Revenge of the Fifth, everyone. Howdy, welcome to Fandom Social. My name is Paul.
And I'm Danny.
It says Daniel. Do you want to go by Danny? We can. We just have to rebrand everything.
That is a great point. I'm still in work mode. For whatever reason I'm Danny across the board. I don't know when it happened. I don't know what happened. But I went from Daniel to Danny, and here, that's Daniel.
Yeah, this is a work environment, not your stupid job. You have to be a professional here. You're not being paid because it counts more when you're not being paid.
For love, this is my social media internship.
Not to brag, everyone. It's going poorly for him. Hello, everyone, and welcome in. I hope you guys had a fun May the 4th. I feel like for the first time in a while, we actually celebrated May the 4th.
Yeah, we've never really done anything.
Not together at least.
True. Yeah, I did. I have gone to Scum and Villainy once, but it was so long ago. I couldn't tell you I was even there with.
Yeah.
You want to have fun at the brewery?
I was going to say, so me and Daniel yesterday, we went to a brewery near us, and I dressed up like a Jedi. Daniel, did you dress up?
I did not. I wore my Disney branded Spirit jersey. I was wearing the Hoth one, so I was kind of showing out.
Weird.
As soon as we got there, they started the Hoth movie.
I say it in that tone because me and Daniel were talking all week, and even saw episode 3 together, and we're like, maybe we should dress up for the show today on Revenge of the Fifth. Like, we were feeling good.
We sure
were.
This
is the only one that followed the Jedi code. It wasn't Daniel, and it wasn't Danny, whatever other personalities he's got. It's fun.
Now, these kinds of accusations are what push people to the dark side.
It is. It's true. I could see myself going to the dark side pretty quickly. Like, I think we talked about this. We went to this brewery, and they started playing A New Hope, and I think we got there like halfway through A New Hope.
Yeah, something like that.
We stayed all through Empire, and first 20-30 minutes of Return, and the whole time me and Daniel are sitting there, our significant others are next to us, and all we can think about is, I don't think I'd be a hero in any of these stories. like me and Daniel, we are good inherently, but I could see us being like door operators or like droid mechanics, just keep the paycheck coming. I'm not saying we support the Empire, but I'm just saying we all found ourselves we're in the Empire right now, and how easy did we all fold into that?
Right. Yeah. No, corporate work is corporate work. If I'm doing a little spreadsheet on the Death Star, that's cool with me.
Yeah, exactly. Because whether this is the real universe or the Star Wars universe, my girlfriend is still very expensive. And I don't think the Rebellion is paying very much. Let's just say by the state of all of their clothes. It's ass.
Maybe we can ask for a credits increase.
Do you want to ask for a raise in the Empire?
Can you imagine getting that kind of rejection? The force choke of a no?
Yeah, that's payment enough to some people. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome in. Today, we are talking about something that is very near and dear to me and Daniel, which is religion. Me and Daniel, long practitioners, ex-Catholics, the both of us. Lapsed Catholics?
Cradle Catholics, as I've come to learn.
What does that mean? What does that term mean?
Cradle, like you're born into it, you're raised it, versus like a convert Catholic.
Yeah, I had seen someone post on their channel about Catholics saying, we can do this in real time. Daniel, may the force be with you.
And also with you.
Yes. That phrase
is outdated, but
yeah, that phrase is activated in us, like the Winter Soldier when they say those keywords. We just start seeing all of the freaking prayers and everything. It never goes away to me. So lapsed Catholics, ex-cradle Catholics. Both of our families, I would say, are kind of conveniently Catholic. But I think we found a possible religion here, Daniel, that I could see us following, even ironically. That is, of course, the topic of our show today. We are talking about Jediism, which is highly debated as to whether it is or is not a religion. So I'm going to read the description here, and then Daniel, I'm going to ask you twice. I'm going to ask you at the front of the show, do you think it's a religion? And then we'll see if your opinion changes by the end of the show. So the description is, what is Jediism? What the hell are we talking about? It is a modern spiritual belief system inspired by the philosophy and the values of the Jedi from the Star Wars universe. While it began partly as a cultural phenomenon and kind of like an internet joke, it reached thousands of people, especially after this census that happened in the UK, Australia, New Zealand. And it has since evolved into like an actual movement. There's an actual temple in like Beaumont, Texas, and there is an actual text and lecture, or they call them sermons. It's evolved so much from this sort of internet joke into a practicing kind of religion. So, Daniel, do we have any images of like the census that had popped up?
We do. We have the census map results.
So this is pretty interesting. So in 2001, again, it's a grassroots movement around the citizens of England, Wales, and other parts of the world who labeled their religion as Jedi. And you can see on the map essentially over these various parts of where like they're pretty focused. There's like a pretty focused census of people all over. Look at, like, I can't really read. Sorry, everyone, I got so close to the mic. What that one area is, but it looks like, I don't know if you guys have ever played Plague Inc. It was a game on your phone where you would just like create diseases and ruin the world. That's kind of what this looks like. And I probably should have made that joke before, because this is not what that is. They're not off to a great start.
No, so this is the census map. And so you can see anything yellow or darker has some kind of representation of Jedis listed on the census. And then the red circles are kind of like indicative of like how many. So I think that might be London, that dark red spot on the bottom right.
Yeah, that's true.
I imagine that'd be a city center.
It'd be a pretty good one. I can't imagine a lot of Jedis would take like some time off. Yes. It, again, Jediism is it's an interesting use case into how IP can really affect people's lives. Specifically, one is like deep and call it like explored as Star Wars. So Daniel, I know you've like looked over it a little bit. So let's ask you now at the top of the show. Do you think Jediism not is a religion? Because I think there's two questions here. Mm-hmm. Like, is it a religion? Sure. You can worship a spaghetti monster in the sky, as people like to say. That can be your religion. But should this be legally classified as a religion?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what is a religion other than, like a set of beliefs, a doctrine, like a belief system? And I feel like that classifies. I feel like that would quantify. You'd probably make a good case in like a courtroom that it would.
Oh yeah,
because like you said, look at like the Pastafarians.
Yeah, which is real.
Which is real. It is a recognized thing. I think just like Jediism, I think they've reached like a tax exempt, like government regulated, recognized status, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it fully is a religion.
Which Daniel's jumping ahead a little bit, but yes, there is a part of the world that's going to be hard for some of you maybe to believe, but there is a part of the world where Jediism has reached tax exempt status. Not all over the world, but in some parts. So let's get into a little bit of what like the tenets of Jediism are. Like, what do they believe in? What, obviously we can think of like the Jedi Code. We all know relatively enough Star Wars, but like there are a few that I found to be interesting. There's no what I there's no deity. And I think there's a Piers Morgan interview out there where he's being such an asshole to this guy who we'll get into in a second, who's like considered one of the figureheads of the Jediism religion. But there's no Jesus. There's no
like central figurehead.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily like monotheistic, I wouldn't call it. It is really I would say it's maybe closer to Buddhism of all things.
I feel like the Force could be argued as like, some kind of entity, some kind of like central figure.
Right.
But at the same time, it's more of a vibe. It's a feeling. It's ethereal.
Right. So it by that standard, then like DJs are closer to the Force than we are, as they are all vibe curators, and that's their whole job, Daniel.
That's a great point.
Some of the core aspects of Jediism, first and foremost, as Daniel mentioned, the Force. It's believed to be a metaphysical energy that connects all living things in Jediism. It is often interpreted as a spiritual or symbolic concept rather than a literal power. So again, very similar to different sects of Buddhism, Taoism, where like certain parts of Buddhism believe that chi is a real thing that your body emits and you can transfer to another person. Where in aspects, and I could get these backwards. One, spoiler alert, I'm an atheist, so I don't really like read too much into this, but I did look up a little bit more as to like what religions are a little closer, and even some subreddit groups of Jediism that they kind of attach themselves to these other religions. Anyways, Taoism is a little bit different, where it's more of like Jean Gargano is saying, it's more of like this lifestyle, and chi is something that you are wanting to like attain. And God, I hate saying this, but Daniel, you're right. Like not that you're right. Well, I hate saying that too, but it's it's like you want to move your like good chi to someone else, and just like put that person in a positive environment instead of like giving them a physical thing to make them feel better. Like you're like, I'm sending you good wishes and good vibes. Like that's chi. When it's like, oh, okay, like makes some people, they feel better when other people are in the corner. It's very complicated. The human mind, very complicated. And so that's, again, they don't believe it's like a literal god. That they don't believe that like the Force is like the thing in Donnie Darko that's coming out of their chest and looks like a little invisible worm. But they do practice the Jedi code. So practitioners often follow like an ethical code similar to that of the Jedi in Star Wars. It's very, very close, but they do focus on like peace, compassion, self-discipline, knowledge, like Jedis do, but they do bring in real world elements to it. And then of course there's a spiritual practice of Jedaists. Honestly, that's a whole other thing. One second. But they we'll start getting into what pisses me off about this very shortly. But many Jedaists also engage in meditation, mindfulness, and self-improvement and acts of service to others. So again, like Agana said, more of a way of life, Daniel.
Right. More of like like you said, like a lifestyle.
Yes, exactly. And again, incredibly interesting that this like religion has gotten where it is based off this IP. So one of the things that annoys me is like they call themselves Jediism, they mention Star Wars everywhere, but you cannot call in some of these subreddit groups, trust me, you cannot call them Jedis. They don't like being called Jedis, because it's like it's similar to calling some of the Jedis like oh, you're Buddha. And you're like, no, I'm not Buddha. I'm doing what I can to be Buddha. Like, there can't be 1,000 Buddhas. Not everyone who's a Buddhist is the Buddha. Same thing with most Jedis, at least the ones that I encountered in a very, very boring subreddit, where I was just like, oh, you're a Jedi. And they're like, we don't like to be called Jedis. We like to be called Jedaists, which is just the same thing with extra steps. And I think they're it's like for spiritual enlightenment, right? They're trying to like stay humble, stay grounded. I
Oh,
think they're trying
yeah.
to avoid a lawsuit. If you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that if it's a untaxable entity, it probably has a tax ID,
Mhm.
and the mouse is not going to play around with that.
No. I Mickey and Walt Disney, I think, would be Sith. I think like they are like master and apprentice because they are just. It is just so insane the hurdles in which Jediism goes through to like be as close to the line as you can be without getting hit with a lawsuit.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, there's no sabers, there's no robes. It's not about like the dressing up. It's not about the Star Wars of it,
Right. There are light swords, and then there are robes, but they're not Jedi robes, and they're not lightsabers. But they do use the Force, but I don't think you can like copyright the Force.
Yeah, it's lowercase f in all the doctrine.
It's very frustrating, and they will yell at you in the subreddit. Let me tell you, they do not want the House of Mouse coming down on them, because I just don't know. Like I want to see a subsect of like the like Church of Satan or like the Satanism church, but that's like the Sith.
Oh yeah, I could see it. Almost like a counter movement to Jediism.
So that every good thing that they do, the Church of Sith is. Maybe we can do it. Maybe we can start the Church of Sith because there's already two of us, which we were explaining a little earlier. Me and Daniel have been watching Star Wars. We've been kind of all inundated with Star Wars all week. It's kind of a faulty system because we've got a new guy that started at work and he's onboarding. Could you imagine if like your boss was also the person that had to onboard you to all of your work? What a nightmare.
No, yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine. And being like, just having the one coworker, I would snap at some point too.
Yeah. Wait, Daniel, which one of us is the master? Which one of us is the apprentice?
I think I'd be the apprentice. I'm not serious enough to take on power.
You don't want the responsibility. Oh, almost like buying robes to match your cousin.
You see? I mean, the signs are there.
They were there. I should have known better. So now that we know a little bit about what Jediism is, or at least I hope we filled you guys in. Let's talk about a little of like how it got started. We already kind of talked about the census that had happened sort of, in Europe, but a couple other dates for you guys. It gained major attention in 2001. That's the census we walked you through. But it wasn't until about 2005 in which the Temple of the Jedi Order was actually started. Now, this is different than what is, I think, prominent now. But in 2005, the Temple of the Jedi Order, or Totjo, which I hate, but it does sound like a Studio Ghibli character. It was established, and it was one of the first organized groups that really steered into the Star Wars of it. Like they were very much like lifestyle, like LARPing. It was almost like LARPing.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of this. Yeah, it feels indicative of. Is like that performative nature of like LARPing. But
yeah, so a way that I have been losing sleep over, trying to understand the difference between. We've got two big entities right now. Totjo, which started in 2005, they kind of got to the scene first, but they were, as I was mentioning, like LARPing. They were kind of like, oh, we're like the Jedi Temple. We've got a council, right? So they were kind of playing into, again, the Star Wars like IP. And it wasn't until 2007 in which a young musician and philosophy graduate, because of course, a philosophy graduate's not working, so they've got time to think of this stuff, named Daniel M. Jones, he was a key proponent, and he'd started, there he is, the Church of Jediism. And that was the first term and the first time that we had seen the term Jediism. Now, what this was is it wasn't necessarily where if Tojo, which is the Church of the Jedi, is like LARPing as to like, we're going to put on night stuff and we're going to pretend to be, like the Arthur's Round Table. What the Church of Jediism and Daniel M. Jones, what his organization was mostly about was, what if we just followed the principles of a knight and put those into our everyday life? So like we took it away from the LARPing field and applied those so I hope, is that enough of a distinction, Daniel, for you? Do you think?
Yeah, yes and no. I feel like they're both, maybe like two halves of a coin here.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think Daniel Jones was more in line of like, let's be serious about this. Let's like be so for real and establish something rather than, let's take what we've seen in the movies and just kind of interpret it for our, I don't know, city council, size
exactly
group. Because I imagine like I imagine Tot Show probably only had 10 members or something, something very small for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
And that just gets the ball rolling. I guess enough people had seen it. My understanding was that it was some kind of like chain email that was like, haha, put Jedi for on the census.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up with like the results, allegedly. So I imagine like there was enough word of mouth to like get people's eyes actually on this.
Yeah. I mean, we can do anything like with chain emails. I think truly, with the state of the world and the predominant age of the people ruining this country, we should bring back those chain emails that's like, forward this to 4 senators or you're gonna lose your entire bourbon collection. We got to really get at them, because I just think they're too stupid to understand that it's fake. I think we need to bring them back.
Fight fire with fire, a little misinformation, a little sensationalism.
Yeah,
it'll get the fire moving.
Daniel's great at misinformation. I've known him a long time. I don't even know his real name. I thought it was Daniel this whole time. Apparently, Danny. So I'd say the key difference between Tojo and the Church of Jediism is Daniel M. Jones, founder of the Church of Jediism. My guy, probably swimming in that philosophy graduate, debt, started to monetize this, and he wrote a book called "Become the Force: 9 Lessons on How to Live as a Jediist." Jediist, again, freaking lose it. Jediist master, which outlines the principles of Jediism and offers guidance on applying its teachings to everyday life. And again, really, really taking the principles of being a Jedi like into your everyday life, rather than it being like, we're going to go to this place and make pretend Jedi, like, the first church had done, the first temple had done. And so the book serves as both also, which I found to be, again, this is why I think it's a religion, because once the human element comes into it, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, now that I know that there's bamboozling and hoodwinkery, I'm like, you are absolutely a religion to me, because much like L. Ron Hubbard, much like Joseph Smith, found these principal people in Scientology and Mormonism. Daniel Jones also had his 9 principles of being a Jediist master. It's also like a self-memoir.
Oh, I see.
So there's a lot of information on Daniel M. Jones that's sort of in the first couple of pages, and it's really setting him up as a I don't want to say prophet,
like a messiah type figure, like a central figure.
Yeah, because it's like, once you're no longer a prophet once you make a profit. If you ever heard that term, like, it just doesn't. it doesn't for me work exactly like he's not trying to do that. Like he's not trying to say like I'm an actual Jedi, like or I speak to George Lucas or I actually can see the Force. Like he's not really saying any of that, but he's also putting himself in a position where he is the only one that understands like this version. And through my book, you'll understand what it really means to be a Jedi because for some reason he's knows more.
He's heard the word of the Force. The Force spoke to him and him alone.
Right. Yes. Again, he's a musician. Might just be tinnitus. So, I don't know.
I did have this photo. Like, I'm curious as to where like the symbol came into play.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking, and I'll be honest, I ran out of time. But if anyone out there knows what the hell this symbol is about, like it's kind of like a cross and a sickle. Also, looks like an earring he would wear.
I saw this as a graphic with Jediism, but that using the J.
Well, that's what we used also on our thumbnail because that logo is everywhere, but it's only really used by the Church of Jediism, which you could check for yourself if their website wasn't always freaking down.
I actually grabbed some media assets. Hang on. This is, and you can kind of see the difference in the websites versus like, how much like care and effort they put into it. This is Tachio's website.
Okay.
Kind of stale. Right.
Very much looks like it was made by me.
And then this is Church of Jediism in the UK. And this is their homepage. This is their hook, their gotcha.
I see.
Kind of not impressive on either end, versus like the Reddit subreddit, which is active, as of 7 hours ago.
Friends, I need some advice. I thought Sith and Jedi could train together, but I was wrong. I don't know if I was wrong to trust humans. Are real Sith that disgusting? I wanted to build something good, and I said simple pre-rules so that people's egos would not be satisfied, including my own ego. I feel a sense of emptiness. I just feel like this is like copy and pasted from some sort of like Midwest Facebook post. It reads the exact same way. It does have some ground within media. Like it still exists. Like people are still actively Jedaists, I guess, but it's not like, I don't know, man. It's not really something that is. It doesn't have any traction anymore. Maybe that's what the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Jedi. I feel like Star Wars as a property has been losing steam, and I feel like naturally you would probably see like a drop off of people that like take it seriously. The people that the people that take it seriously are probably going to hang in there, right? Regardless of like how the property, the IP is doing. Because we've said, it's like a set of like spiritual belief, right? A lot of mindfulness exercises, stuff like that, stuff that you can kind of separate from an IP. Yeah. Whereas like the church members, the ones that are like, we've got a Jedi council, I imagine they might just, get bored of that after a while without enough steam coming from like the main IP generator.
Yeah. Do you think, let's say 10, well, that's true. Let's say 10 years from now, there is 3 movies out and it turns out that like the Jedi perform some sort of horrible medieval Holocaust. Terrible thing. Does this religion have to like shift, you think? That's the issue that I see with this religion basing off an IP that's still got property coming out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because I'm sure we've seen so much media content as of the last 10-15 years where it's like let's try and understand the bad guys' motivations, right? And I could see them doing a property where they flip it and then make Jedis, they show like the evil of the Jedi, I guess, helped create, or I don't know, they show us the Sith perspective, and I don't know, I could see that leaving a bad taste in people's mouth, but I feel like there's so much Star Wars content that I think Jedis are just like connotated now to be like a positive force. You know, they're the peacekeepers. So
true.
I don't know. Very much like a possibly problematic celebrity. You don't want to get like something tattooed or something, right? That could end up problematic later on.
Yeah. I've had to my Adam Levine, Marilyn Manson, and Barry Keoghan tattoo did not age well.
It's right next to my TJ Miller tattoo.
Oh God! Well, that thing's getting more work than he is. So, it's just I always struggle with Star Wars specifically, and I guess like we can. I guess kind of shift this into a little bit of a different area, not necessarily away from Jediism because I think it's still relevant, but I'm surprised that there isn't more of a following of this, like even from the perspective of like cosplaying a religion, and there aren't like more Jediist meetups and stuff. But it seems like Star Wars fans, in my opinion, have kind of distanced themselves from this. Like you are a much bigger Star Wars fan than I am. Like, how aware of like Jediism were you like, all of the conventions you've gone to? Have you ever heard anyone like talk about it?
Yes and no. Like I mentioned earlier, I bought this book, right? It's called Jedi Mind. And it's from an author, and like they're like mindfulness practices, right? So it's like I'm bookmarked on the General Leia one. And it's a sensory exercise. Sit in a comfortable upright position, breathe naturally, notice 5 things you can see, take in your environment, notice the things you can hear, the things you can smell, the things you can feel on the floor. So I mean, there's like I guess like a therapeutic approach to this, right? And so I don't know, I feel like it's coming at you from like the wellness trend that we've been seeing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I'm surprised that book's not sponsored by Headspace. Like
exactly, right? And for like a good while.
Actually, I got it during COVID. And I was gonna say during COVID, I remember that Headspace also came out with like Star Wars meditations.
Oh yeah, see,
like they're real, like they're like guided, and you close your eyes and they talk to you, and you're like, now imagine that you are on Dagobah. Your feet. Yes. Your feet are firm on the ground. There are worms. You just kissed your sister. Like it's something that I think they've like steered into, and I wonder if it's because too many people have like have just made it a joke at this point,
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I feel like it's like maybe the people, the Jedaists are in the place that like people that would dress up for Comic-Con were 25 years ago, like it was only like the nerdiest, only the most dedicated that would do stuff like that. It didn't have like a commodification to it. Like it wasn't trendy yet. And yeah, I feel like maybe that's what they're seeing. Because yeah, I mean, for as long as Star Wars has been movies, you've always heard of people like dressing up and all that, but nobody's ever really like, and I'm surprised it took until 2001 for people to like
seriously
come out as Jedis.
Yeah. They came out, yes. It's something that I'm interested to see develop, because like there are we study fandoms here on this channel, and Star Wars being probably the biggest fandom I'd say in the world. Like I don't know of one that's bigger, like from a pop culture perspective, obviously, but what?
It's in Michael Jackson.
Yeah, let's cover up your Michael Jackson tattoo, Daniel. So it makes sense that there are these like subgroups, like even within this massive fandom, right? I mean, like you can just bury yourself in this fandom even deeper, and it is this sort of participatory aspect of Star Wars that you don't really get with a lot of other fandoms. Like I'm trying to think of like maybe Like if you think of some
That's a good
big
point.
ones, like Supernatural, right? Like
Mhm.
Supernatural, like you've got hunters, but like you can't really go out and be a hunter.
Right.
Otherwise, you just jump in a car with some weapons and
Blasting
you,
some classic rock.
yeah, and you just go scare people that look a little different than you. And I think there aren't a lot of other fandoms that have this participatory aspect to them that people feel not only like inclined, comfortable, but like you mentioned, sort of canonized. Like what's it? Daniel Jones actually has like a Jedi name that he goes by. Daniel, I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just gonna try, but it's Morda Hale. I
Morda
don't know.
Morda Hale. Hale.
Yeah. And it's like that's like what it's about. And I think to me, the reason that I was so fascinated and I wanted to do Jediism for for May the 5th or Revenge of the Fifth, as we are all sort of in the Star Wars Kool-Aid right now, is because it just reminds me of like I am this grumpy person when it comes to Star Wars all the time. But like the power of Star Wars is truly found in Jediism to me. Like that's like what it is. Um, people can again really participate, canonize, and become their fandom in a lot of ways. But like I think Star Wars allows it in a way that I don't think any other fandom really could.
I mean, yeah, walking up to the line of like cosplay, I mean, I feel like
Exactly.
that's like the most like immersed you could get. Whereas like Star
Mhm.
Wars has like participation in, like you said, like the religion, like Jediism. But there's also like locations, kind of like you could go to the real world, not real world, the real set of Tatooine in, I
Right.
want to say it's like Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I feel like that's a level of immersion that you can't really get with anything else. Because I mean, well, yes, it is a live set. It is still like a literal desert.
I'd say maybe now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
Potter
Harry
more and more
Potter
that.
I feel like Harry Potter also allows you this level of immersive fandom. It's very, very small, but like you can go to places that Harry walked. You can go to kind of like see Hogwarts. Now you can go to Universal Studios, right? You can go to Disneyland and go to Galaxy's Edge, right? So there are places where not only can you participate in your fandom, but it is encouraged for you to immerse yourself in this fandom and bring like your at home stuff like there and dress up and the
Yeah.
blue milk, right? So it's like incredibly immersive. I think maybe only Harry Potter like also has that. Like
Yeah. Because I
there
mean,
really aren't a lot of other fandoms like that.
Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty has
Maybe Mario, the Mario Land.
the Mario Land. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a good
Universal
point.
Monsters. I want to go. Hope my girlfriend's watching this and she'll take me.
You does look fun.
I
Group
know
trip.
that's group trip.
But yeah, like you're
As you
saying,
guys
like
like to say, yeah.
with Mario, with Mario, it's like consumer only. Like you can't really, there's no sense of participation. I guess like you going
Yeah.
through the green tunnel, right? I guess would count.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
but you
otherwise, like,
don't like, but I don't see like a human-esque Mario
mhm.
doing things that I do. Like I can see Hayden Christensen spinning a lightsaber and being like, "Oh, if I tried really hard, I could do that." Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's this humanistic level that I think like something like Mario, maybe for the for better, like doesn't have,
Yeah, agreed.
right? Because like it allows you a different level of immersion. But like Star Wars just has it where it's almost like, oh, they're humans, but right in a galaxy long, long time ago
It's
or whatever
almost
the hell it is.
tangible, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
this is like a miniature Kylo Ren lightsaber, but a full size lightsaber. If you can hold it, you can feel it. It's
Hmm.
like a little port key into like
Yeah.
that world.
Hmm.
I need a blaster or something. Paul and I were talking, and we really don't have any Star
I
Wars merch.
have no Star Wars merch anymore. And a few of you know that I used to work for a company where not to brag, but Star Wars was kind of our bread and butter. And I had so much Star Wars shit that I didn't know what to do with it. I think he might be one of the few Star Wars things I have. My little, it's Grugs.
There. Oh, Grogs.
Yeah. But I don't have any of my Star Wars shirts anymore. I used to have like the Disney jerseys as well. I just right. I feel like a 80s like soccer player who got real hurt. My dad was just like, I really want you to go pro. And you're like, it's not my dream, Dad. It's not my dream. And so I gave up all my cleats and I just started dancing. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, I
believe that's High School Musical.
High School Musical, either way. Yeah. 80s, 2000s, whenever. I just haven't felt very like compelled to participate in Star Wars, but I'm a little revved up now because me and Daniel watched Revenge of the Sith on Wednesday. And then obviously yesterday was May the 4th. We went to this brewery. I wore the robes and we're talking Jediism. I've been doing like planet excursions on YouTube where they're like, let's take you around Hoth. Let's take you around Tatooine. And they go like around some of the architecture and the history of it. Like that to me is the more interesting part of Star Wars because there's some pretty messed up places in Star Wars. Like not Tatooine. What's the No, well, that one too. That one, like, it used to be like a beautiful green planet, and then really gross now. It was just like Tucson. No, oh my god, the big city with all the cars and everything. Coruscant. We're like, Coruscant's a hive city where it's just like it's just built on top of other cities because they just didn't have any room, and so they just like smush all the other cities down. And there's like,
it's gotta build up.
Gotta build up. It's like Tokyo, right?
Yeah. Vertical,
baby. But again, Jediism is something that I feel is so inherently Star Wars, not only because obviously it's Jedi, but because Star Wars, like, I think encourages more than any other religion. Maybe even, if you're looking at the consumer packaged goods side of things, a little too much. They really want you to participate in Star Wars and open up that wallet. But I think even from the beginning, right? Like any tube, Daniel, that you would get right when your mom's done wrapping Christmas gifts. What did that become?
Absolutely.
It's a lightsaber. Like it just did such a good job because the original films, I think when we watched them yesterday, they just did such a good job of really leveling their movie and building a foundation of practicality that you can see in a lot of those movies where you're like, oh, that's just this with some like, zhuzh on it.
Some movie magic.
Some movie magic all over it. No. I think Jediism is a direct product of that original trilogy. That it kind of brings you to, Luke and Yoda on Dagobah, just sort of like training. Like, I think that's like the attainable goal for Jediism is like that level of like training and enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Agree. So as we're sort of getting to the end of this stream here, what do you think? Do you still think it deserves like to be an officially recognized religion?
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me wants to say yes because it is like a belief system. People can like mold their morality to it, and around it. But at the same time, it is so close in IP and it's so close to it rides the line of like LARPing and cosplay, and like that performative nature of it. But if we're docking religions on performative points, like look at Catholicism, it's all robes, it's all dresses, it's all like it's all a show-stopping pizzazz.
Yeah. Tell me that Conclave is not just like a
drag, baby.
It's like it's not a drag gender reveal party with a little bit more steps. And John Galgano says people shouldn't believe in an ism; they should believe in themselves. We at the themselves isms, that's what we participate in. I agree with you. But yeah, totally. And I think like Jediism is actually really close to Satanism, which like like you hear the word right, and it's kind of like inflammatory, but like Satanism has actually nothing to do with Lucifer or the devil. It's sort of like antithetical more to like the church, and it's got practices that have to do more with like individuality and spirituality. And it's very simple. Like there's the Church of Satan, and there's the first is it Temple of Satan. There's a couple. It's very similar. It's a very similar setup where they've got
sort of nations within Satanism.
Exactly. It's like it's like the Church of Satanism is the big one, and there's the first temple of Lucifer or something like that, and that's like more practicing of like Lucifer was like an angel and he fell, but we don't really know his whole story. So they're kind of saying the same thing but different. That's kind of how I feel like Jediism is with the temple. The Temple of the Jedi and the Church of Jediism. Like they're on the same path, but they just want different things out of it. To me, it's gonna be a hot take. I don't think it's a religion.
Okay, that's fair.
I think it's
what brings you to that assessment.
I think it's extended role play, which is fine. Again, all religion is in some way, shape, or form. I just think it's real dangerous that they're doing this setup on an established IP. Also, like I think maybe it's better off is not a religion. Like it's its own thing. Like why would it want to be part of such a an inflated word? It's its own thing, and I just don't think it is myself. But it's, as I've read more into it, like it's really just like a way of like again, it just feels like extended immerses, an extended level of being immersed in this thing that they love so much. I lost my note and I could see where I wrote it, but I promise I had a little bit more eloquently than that, but I'd written down more eloquently, but I don't know. It's just
extended role play is a great way to put it. It's a fantastic way to put it.
Yeah. And I think it's just an extension of these people's fandom, and that's totally fine. Like that's great. But I will say Jediism is an established religion. They have reached tax exempt status in Beaumont, Texas, of all places. Texas.
Do we know where Daniel Jones is from? Is he American?
He's Welsh.
Oh, he's Welsh. Okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't. I'm assuming he didn't establish it in Texas. But.
No, the UK has denied that request like a few times. I don't know how many times, but it's more than once. And they just have not established Jediism as a religion formally in the UK, where a majority of its now some almost 500,000 patrons, I guess we can call it, because technically they have like a newsletter. Count me in as one of them. So I signed up the Fandom Social email to it. So Fandom Social are officially Jedis.
Alarm light went off.
Yeah. They're like, Southern California, we got one. But in Beaumont, Texas, they had like this dude. I was just thinking about this. We won't actually give out the address because I kind of like skimmed and searched for it, but there is an officially recognized temple of the Jedi. It's like it's an actual Jedi temple, and this dude had his like place registered as like a religious like a religious place, and it's for Jediism. And it's in Beaumont, Texas, and he got it. He's like the only one of like 3 people that are practitioners, and of all freaking places, it's Texas.
Well, at least the tax exempt status is solid.
Yeah, he's tax exempt. He doesn't have to pay property tax. I looked up like what the benefit of that was, because he doesn't make any money like as a Jediist. Like he doesn't have anyone paying him. But he doesn't have to pay property tax, which, you can look at the house, Daniel. Again, we won't give it up. It's not that hard to find, but you guys can like look it up. It's Beaumont, Texas. So there you go. It's not like that nice of a place. So he's not paying like, crazy property tax, but it's,
But when you
it's something.
conveniently make the temple your home, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what we need to do. Ooh, what if we are just socialists? I like that. Fandomists?
Fandomists. Yeah, I think socialist is taken, unfortunately.
By whom?
That's a whole history lesson. Yeah, this looks like Lancaster, California.
It does not look nice. No. Yeah. We won't show it in respect to this dude's home because I got it from someone on Reddit. So I don't know like
That
if this
doesn't
person
sound
agreed to have their home shared by this person on Reddit, but they shared it to me, and I put it in the doc, and I'm glad I caught ourselves, Daniel, and be like, yeah, let's not show this dude's address. But it's real, it's out there, you can look. But all right, everyone, happy Revenge of the Fifth. Daniel, are you celebrating any further, or are you kind of like Star Wars doubt?
I don't think I'll ever be Star Wars out, but we didn't have anything on the docket for tonight. But I don't know, maybe we'll watch Rogue One or something. It's one of my faves.
The best
I think,
Star Wars property.
Yeah, easily. But yeah, I think the occasion does call for Revenge of the Sith, perhaps with some margaritas and chips and salsa. Mm-hmm. It does sound pretty good because there is
duality of Danny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. You are Mexican and you are a Star Wars fan.
And truly, that's just where worlds collide. May 5th.
Yeah. May 5th. Yeah, it's your
the veil is thinnest. Our solstice.
I was gonna say, yes. Be careful. The one or two, I'm sure, Latino-esque. It would just be like Pedro Pascal and Cassian Andor.
Yeah.
That's seriously. When you are closest to them. They're like our saints. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I might watch Solo. Hear me out. I know Solo's not great. But one, it's the only Star Wars like movie that's come out that I've only seen once.
Same. I've only ever seen it once. And even then I didn't love it. I didn't enjoy it. I think that was the start of my noticing that like, wow, these movies are like really dim now. And I couldn't quite tell what was going on in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, it's not great. But I do like Alden Albrecht.
Yeah, Alden. Something like that.
I don't care what people say. Like maybe I'm just not like that close to Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
But he's fucking good. Like he's a good Han Solo. Like, am I wrong in that? Like, if whoever is still sticking with us,
he carried himself well, right? He had that like old school Harrison Ford energy, right? Yeah. I thought he did great. But yeah, I know a lot of people didn't really like Solo.
Yeah, John. You read John's comments. Solo is highly underrated. It's a really fun heist film. It is. I will say though, I'm a huge Childish Gambino fan. Love him.
Oh yeah.
I really think he was like out of place as Cassian, as Lando. Sorry,
Lando.
I just felt like he was really distracting in it. And he's the only one that I looked and I was just like, "You're not in Star Wars. You're Childish Gambino." Like it just didn't work. But like when I watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like I don't see him as that. I see him as his character. It's a very like finicky line that he plays when he does like these big roles. I just think he was miscasted personally.
Yeah, that's a good point. Agreed. I think so too. Because as soon as he's on screen, it like yanks you out of the movie.
Yeah, he's like he's playing charming and he's just not charming.
Yeah. That's a great assessment.
Yeah, and thanks. I watch a lot of movies and I have no fucking life. So yeah, and Dwayne says the Rise of Skywalker is the only Star Wars movie he's only watched twice. Once, I'm sorry. I've seen Rise of Skywalker a few times. I always it always like winds up on. Like I don't know how. It's always just like on.
It's on those like movie channel, TNT, TBS.
Yeah.
Any random weekend, you'll find it.
It's like one of those, Daniel, you know my dad. It's like one of those movies that my dad's like, check this out. It's pretty badass. And it's just like them on crate, and he's like, it's red.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, huh? And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm watching Skywalker again.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker, it's not my fave, but I don't know.
What is Richard like? Because he's seen them.
He likes the new ones, the Disney ones. Force Awakens, I think, is his favorite. I don't even know if I'm sure he's seen Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, but maybe once. He's not a super fan.
Yeah, no. I mean, not by comparison.
He did say that as a child, Jar Jar Binks scared him. So I could see a detachment from the prequel trilogy.
I'm trying to think of like why Jar Jar would scare him, and then I just remembered kind of what he looked like and what he sounded like, his overall demeanor. I think knowing Richard, he's just scared of having to like interact with him for too long. Like you can't get away from him.
Yeah.
Alexis hasn't seen most of the Star Wars, if any of the Star. I think we just talked about this right yesterday.
Yeah.
Like I don't think she's seen them. I don't know if it's like on the docket for her to see them. It's not like really priority one for her. But hey, she agreed to watch Lord of the Rings.
And that's a win.
But we have to move in together first. So
true.
Move in together.
That's a day and a half worth of
Thanksgiving. LOTR trilogy. That's Lord of the Rings. That's what that stands for.
Oh, okay. I was trying to work that through.
It's okay, buddy. You got it. It's a long day.
Words are hard.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. You're not here for the brains. You're here for your looks. All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us. We'll see you guys in a few weeks. We again are posting on our Instagram a lot, so please go to Fandom Social. Pretty easy to find us. We are posting on our story every day. I'm posting reviews of all the stuff that I'm watching every single day. And, we're here as often as we can, still filming content to kind of get up to you guys. But really, our YouTube and Instagram, those are the best ways to reach out to us now and sort of engage with the channel. I don't know if you saw, Daniel, but I posted yesterday, and I'll let this go, with the show here, and everyone can just think on it. But I posted on our YouTube, if Jediism is a religion, who is like the Pope?
Yoda. It'd have to be Yoda.
Right? But I'm like, he's not an elected official. Like, would it be Palpatine?
No, because Palpatine was a strong user of the Force, perhaps.
Yeah.
Plagueis, no, maybe not.
But like, is Yoda in charge of the Jedi Council? Or is he just like the senior most? Like, does he hold a position of authority? Or does everyone just recognize that you're like, you're old as balls, like we just listen to you?
I think you might be right. I think he might just be like the eldest member on the council and thus like the most wise, because it really does tend to be like a group decision between the council. So yeah, maybe Yoda's just
is it like Mace? I was like, is Mace Windu kind of like the Pope? Because I feel like he's like a more of a, at least in, we were watching the prequel trilogy, over the week, and I was like, I feel like he's pretty involved. Yaddle. I feel like Mace Windu is like way more involved in the prequels than I remember. I don't know. I just don't remember. I'm just like, oh, that's Nick Fury, but I forget, like, he's Mace Windu as well. Like, he's
right. And yeah, Mace Windu had some pull within the council. I think he was just the most in Yoda's ear, and thus was kind of like the second in command. But I mean, there were more elder members. Ki-Adi-Mundi is like a couple 100 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Really looks great, honestly. All right. Well, you guys think on that. When you have an answer, go to our YouTube. You can go to our posts and let us know who you think is the Pope of the Jedi religion. I'm just curious. I don't know. Well, that's all for us, folks. Thank you guys so much. Again, we'll see you in a few weeks, maybe next week, whenever I can pin Daniel down. He's pretty squirrely, so he's hard to tackle. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy your Revenge of the Fifth Day. Have a margarita. Join Daniel. Nope, not falling for that. Hey, we've got a patron.
Our first cult member.
Our first cult member. You have more fun as a follower, but we make more money as a leader. So, all right, everyone. Have a great night. Like what you love what you like, and don't be a dick about it. Bye, everyone. Oh, this is more Mr. Miyagi. Damn, press the button.